Hello everyone. Welcome to Enterprise Mobility Expeditions podcast. Here, you will find out what is trending in the world of technology. I'm your host, Shresi. Today we'll be talking about the minds behind 42Gears with our special guests, Onkar and Prakash. Let's get started. Today on the show, we are excited to have Onkar Singh, CEO of 42Gears, and Prakash Gupta, CTO and COO of 42Gears. They are going to share their story about the journey they have had so far at 42Gears. Hi, and welcome to Enterprise Mobility Expeditions podcast.
Hi, Shresi. Thank you for having us on the podcast. Good to be here.
Hi, Shresi. I'm excited to be part of this.
Welcome, Onkar, and welcome, Prakash. I'm thrilled to have you both on the podcast today. Thank you for taking the time to join me and share your insights with our audience. So let's get started. Deciding to start your own business can be a daunting prospect, especially if it is your first time. So we would like to know, what was the motivation behind starting 42Gears, and why did you choose the device management space?
Well, Shresi, both Prakash and I had extensive experience in building rugged mobile computing devices that you may see in places like warehouses, logistics. We primarily were involved in writing system software, kernel, bootloaders and device driver kind of stuff, pretty low level stuff. The idea of starting 42Gears came from the requirement that we saw in those industries, like to be able to manage this special class of mobile devices that are rugged, devices that I mentioned. So, Prakash, you remember the days of Windows CE and Windows mobile devices, both of which were actually close cousins of Windows that we see on desktops and laptops. I mean, they were so good, we still see them in active use by many businesses even today.
Yeah, I do remember Onkar. I guess those devices were meant to last like for 100 years maybe. So yeah, to answer your question, Tracy, I think the idea of starting something of your own is not uncommon. I know a lot of people who want to do this, but often the timing or circumstances are not favorable. Luckily for me, a lot of things fell into place at the right time, allowing me to take the leap. As Onkar mentioned, both of us spent a good part of our prior careers working on these rugged handheld device platforms. And there we built numerous enterprise solutions for these mobile devices as well. And it was during that time that we realized the tremendous value a good MDM solution and related tools can bring to the table, and how it can help organizations to extract maximum ROI from these devices.
I'm sure everyone is curious to know why 42Gears. So what's the story behind the name?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So we are engineers and we are always fascinated with everything engineering and science. Like the purpose of gears in the real world is to transfer motion and power among different components in a machine, thereby improving its overall efficiency. I mean, that's why they are there for. We took this concept to the digital world. We wanted our products to do something similar, that is to, efficiently move information within an organization, through the use of mobile technologies. So, that's where the gear parts come from.
And the number 42 is quite interesting. I guess most sci-fi readers would know the significance of this number. It is the answer to the ultimate question, answer to life, universe, and everything.
That's really interesting. And now 42 does ring a bell. So talking about setting up a new business, we all know that it requires a lot of planning, strategizing, and effort in terms of execution. And considering that the risks involved are huge, my next question would be, what have been the biggest challenges you have had to overcome?
I think it is platform coverage. As I mentioned earlier, we started with the Windows CE, Windows mobile platforms. Later on, we added support for Android, then iOS, Windows on the desktop, and even Linux. And now we can potentially manage embedded devices and peripheral devices that you see in the workplace using our things management technology. But this journey has not been easy. All of these platforms are quite different from each other, and they're always changing. Making them kind of manageable from within a single pane of glass is quite challenging. I think that challenge is what drove us to what we have today.
Absolutely. And to add to that, I believe hiring talent and scaling the team, especially in the initial years, was a big challenge for us. In a city like Bangalore, it can get fiercely competitive and challenging to get good talent, especially for an early stage bootstrap startups. But I guess our referrals from our professional network came to our rescue. Our core team from those early days is still there with us, and it has only become bigger, more mature. People who joined us probably as freshers are now sort of leaders in our organization, and we are extremely proud of that.
Wow, it sounds like your journey has been quite challenging but also very rewarding. From supporting a variety of platforms to scaling your team, it is quite clear that you have had to overcome a lot of roadblocks to get to where you are today. Well, everyone has to start somewhere, and many of the most successful entrepreneurs came from very humble beginnings. I am very sure that setting up a business involves a very tough decision-making process too. On that note, we would like to know what you feel is the biggest strength of our company right now. Onkar.
Shreyasi, I think it has to be the intense, single-minded focus that we have on providing the best customer experience. Nothing else matters. We are not perfect. We know that, but we strive to support our customers in the best ways possible. I think customer experience, yeah.
Absolutely. Moving on to you, Prakash. What are your thoughts?
I would say it's a team that we have built over the last decade. We have a group of amazingly talented individuals who love to take on new challenges. Their self-belief gives us the courage and freedom to aim and deliver solutions for the most challenging problems for our customers. Also, I believe that we are pretty flexible, and we always have this tendency of backing our decisions with data. For example, a few years ago, we adopted OKRs in our organization, and that took our data-driven approach to another level altogether, and it has brought tremendous alignment across the company. I believe that approach, that way of doing things is also one of our biggest strengths.
Wow, it's great to hear about the importance of both customer focus and the talented team in achieving success. Now, we've often heard of the saying, the act of setting goals gives you something to pursue. It takes that idea and makes it real. This brings me to my next question. What goals do you have for the company?
I envision our company to become the most loved, admired, and respected platform for complete management of any kind of endpoint that an organization can have. When I say complete here, it implies all aspects of management, from provisioning, maintenance, and securing your endpoints to the reliability, productivity, and retiring those devices. And when I say any kind of endpoint, I mean any kind: phones, tablets, rugged PCs, laptops, IoT, VR, wearables, peripherals, and any kind of device. What do you think, Onkar?
Oh, Prakash, I agree, and I think the way to do that would be by making sure that we keep both eyes on the market and align ourselves with it, right? So a lot of things will come our way. We don't have to do everything, but it is important for us to remain alert and be aware of the events happening around us and align ourselves to it when things do change. Yeah.
Great.
That's a great perspective, Prakash. And Onkar, thank you for your insight in the importance of staying attuned to the market and being flexible in your approach. It's clear that both a forward-thinking vision and adaptability are key to success in this field. Moving on to the next question. We all believe that the willingness to take risks is often the path to success. So that said, what trends do you see in the industry 1 year, 5 years, and 20 years from now?
Taking the thought that I mentioned earlier, like as more and more devices get connected to the internet, to the network, IT and operations teams, they want visibility, real visibility into their IT assets and the capability to control those devices and endpoints. You see, RFID readers and industrial routers have been there on the internet, on the network, but these are either unmanaged or weakly managed, right? And then you have these new devices popping up in the workplace that frontline workers use, like Bluetooth headsets, mobile printers. Nobody was paying any attention to them earlier, right? Going forward, I think the way these devices are managed, the approaches that are used to manage these devices will all converge in the future.
What do you think, Prakash?
I agree with Onkar. And to be frank, in our industry, 20 years is a very, very long time. Platforms, technologies change completely, and it's difficult to predict the trend that falls down the line. For imminent future trends, I believe data-driven automation will become big. A number of maintenance and management tasks that are being done by IT admins today can be easily detected and automated using nicely written analytics engine, with the help of the IML-based analytics and detection. And I also agree, as Onkar mentioned, the number of devices used in organization as they are increasing, including wearables, VR headsets, IoT devices, the tools used to manage them should converge, and making it easier for IT teams to see all of those devices from a single pane of glass, to have unified policies to manage them. That's what I think would be the trend.
Thank you for your insights. Now the future certainly looks exciting for these advancements in technology. Out of curiosity, we would like to know what keeps you awake at night, or what gets you out of your bed every morning raring to go.
Okay, usually what keeps me up at night is working with various teams in different time zones. In general, I'm mostly reviewing things related to the business, product, process, anything that we can do to help improve customer experience. So I truly believe in the concept of aggregation of marginal gains, which is basically continuously fixing very small, simple things, which over time can actually, in aggregate can result in very positive results, and we have seen that working for us, and that's what I am mostly looking into. Yeah.
And what about you, Prakash?
Well, I have a 2-year-old daughter. She does a pretty good job at keeping me awake at night. Jokes apart, I'm an engineer at heart. I'm blessed to be part of a group that is responsible for solving very difficult problems almost on a daily basis. There's always that next scalability challenge, a performance goal, some new process, automation, or a new product idea on our radar. Keep things as exciting for me.
That sounds like a challenging yet exciting job. It's interesting to hear how both you and Onkar have different things that keep you up at night. Moving on, there's something I think all of us are curious about. Everyone has some outside interests apart from work. Like if you ask me, I love to play guitar when I'm not working. So my next question to you would be, what are your outside interests?
Well, I love playing badminton and squash. And more recently, my son got me interested in playing football and Nintendo video games.
And, I'll tell you a real story here, right? So years ago, I wanted to start playing squash. But on the very first day, Prakash beat me so badly that I lost all interest in the game. So I now casually play soccer and table tennis with my sons. Thanks, Prakash. And a couple of years ago, I also accelerated, reading books, which I had to catch up on lots of them. So, and also spend some time, listening to audiobooks. So that's what I usually do these days besides work.
Well, yeah, and then just to level the scores, whatever I did to Onkar's squash, he did the same to my table tennis. And even today, I'm hesitant in picking up a table tennis bat because of the way Onkar beat me up.
We are even. Yeah.
We're even yet.
Wow, it sounds like both of you enjoy staying active in different ways. Prakash, it's impressive that you have such a range of interests from badminton and squash to football and video games. And Onkar, while squash might not have been your game, it's great that you still enjoy playing soccer and table tennis with your sons. Moving on to my next question. Today, every company is talking about leveraging diversity of thought to push their teams to new heights of creativity. So we would like to know, how does 42Gears incorporate diverse thinking and perspectives?
Well, this is a core part of our culture. We as teams, we have numerous brainstorming sessions across various departments where people put forward their biggest challenges and everyone else tries to pitch in with possible solutions. We have Think Big, our annual innovation event, where team members submit their ideas around product, processes, and improvements in our existing products. Lots of ideas from Think Big have been successfully incorporated and integrated into our main products today. We also encourage our team to share their feedbacks and thoughts in our quarterly town hall meetings. We follow a 360-degree performance appraisal system to make sure every team member gets a complete, thorough, diverse feedback about themselves. So yeah, there are lots of ways in which we try to incorporate our diverse thinking and perspective.
It's quite impressive to hear how deeply ingrained innovation and collaboration are in 42Gears, Prakash. Thanks for sharing these insights with us. It is often said, the more we read, the more we learn. So we would want to know a book you have read or are currently reading that you would like to recommend to our listeners.
I mean, there are just so many simple things intrigue me. There are some recent ones that I have read and found them interesting. There's a really good book on accountability called The Oz Principle by Roger Connors. And then there's another one called Longitude by Dava Sobel. It's a fascinating story behind how the longitude problem was solved, probably I think a couple of 100 years ago. Most of us don't even think about it, or know, how that problem solution of that problem shaped the world order, later on. So really interesting book. Yeah.
I love classic science fiction, Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke, Douglas Adams. Any of the listeners who has interest in this genre and has not already read it, they should definitely try The God Themselves by Isaac Asimov. A few good non-fiction books that I had read recently liked are Atomic Habits by James Clear and Life 3.0 by Max Tegmark. This is a very interesting book. This explores the potential risks of advancements in AI and how we can proactively design and then shape the development of AI to make sure that there's a positive impact on humanity. And it's probably very relevant in today's time, where everybody is talking about the impact of programs like ChatGPT on our jobs and ethics and all those stuff. So yeah, it's a good read.
Those are some really interesting recommendations. Thank you, Onkar and Prakash, for sharing your favorite books with us. That brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you, Onkar, and thank you, Prakash, for joining in and enlightening us about your journey. You have had your share of ups and downs, and it's quite an inspiring story, I must say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shreyas, for having us on the podcast.
We hope you liked this episode. Thank you for listening to Enterprise Mobility Expeditions podcast. If you enjoy our show, please rate and review us on Spotify podcasts, and be sure to come back for another interesting and insightful session with our tech experts. Until then, this is Shreyas. Don't forget to share and subscribe to our podcast channel, and stay tuned for more such broad content only on Enterprise Mobility Expeditions podcast.